Today, we got three Sith Lords going head to head. I guess technically two Sith Lords and then Grievous. Either way, still gonna be a great fight. So who's coming out on top here? Let's find out. A Zabrak from Dathomir. Darth Maul was the first Sith apprentice of Darth Sidious. Wielding a double-bladed lightsaber, Darth Maul was sent to fight the Jedi Knights Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi during the invasion of Naboo. Even though he was defeated by Kenobi and believed dead, the fallen Sith apprentice returned years later during the Clone Wars to seek revenge. In the beginning of his career, Darth Sidious trained Maul as an assassin, and as such focused primarily on lightsaber fighting and physical combat, and not as much on force techniques. Maul is a master of the seventh lightsaber form, Juyo, which allows the user to harness their most volatile emotions into powerful, aggressive strikes that are intended to overwhelm an opponent's defenses and knock them off balance. Maul was able to maximize the effectiveness of Juyo by channeling his inner darkness and anger, which, coupled with his impressive strength and blinding speed, make Maul an overwhelmingly powerful opponent for even the strongest and most experienced Jedi. The guy was able to hold his own against both Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, killed Qui-Gon, and even though Obi-Wan beat him by surprise in their first fight, Maul never lost to him again throughout the rest of the Clone Wars. Darth Maul is even a skilled enough fighter to temporarily hold his own against Darth Sidious. Darth Maul wields a saber staff, or double-bladed lightsaber, which he personally crafted for himself and was a true master with the blade. He would often just light one side if facing off against a single opponent, but would ignite both sides if going up against two or more people. Darth Maul was always powerful in the Force, but no one really knew just how powerful he was until he survived being cut in half simply because of his immense rage and hatred keeping him alive. He's quite proficient with telekinetic attacks. He's able to use force pushes and force pulls to collapse massive amounts of debris or blow away a large company of soldiers. He's also able to use the force choke against pretty much anyone, even skilled force users like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he's been seen using the force to suspend people in midair and then throwing his lightsaber to kill them. Count Dooku was a Jedi Master that fell to the dark side of the Force and became the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Tyrannus, during the final years of the Galactic Republic. Dooku is a highly skilled lightsaber duelist, even in his old age. While a Jedi, he was one of the Order's finest fighters, for it being said that only Yoda was his superior, and only Mace Windu was a worthy opponent. He was able to fight against both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker in fights, both by themselves and even as a pair, and on Geonosis, was able to hold his own against his former master Yoda. Count Dooku was a master of the second form of lightsaber combat, Makashi, which was a style designed specifically for lightsaber-on-lightsaber fights, relied on precision and speed, and it actually gave Dooku an edge in most fights, since a lot of opponents aren't trained to defend themselves against this particular style. In addition to his skill for lightsaber, Dooku is also extremely skilled with the Force. He's particularly skilled with telekinesis, and actually displays great precision with that telekinesis, such as disarming Ventress, then levitating her against a wall. He's even able to manipulate people's motor skills, like forcing people to shoot or attack their comrades. Finally, Count Dooku's very skilled with Force lightning, and can use it alongside his telekinesis, usually to send a person flying with his lightning, or even to levitate his opponents while using his lightning on them. Born as Kwaiman J. Shalal, General Grievous was a cyborg and supreme commander of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. He was one of the most feared beings in the galaxy during the Clone Wars. When he became a cyborg, General Grievous was built and designed to dominate. His body is made out of durasteel and armor-plated duranium, two of the toughest metals in the Star Wars universe, and are built to stop a burst from a starfighter's laser cannon. His indestructible arms are 10 times stronger than a human, and it can move them with the blurring speed of electronic reflexes. He's smashed skulls just because he was irritated. He's kicked and punched people so hard that they dented durasteel. He's cracked lightsaber resistant metals and created craters just by landing on the ground. Grievous' body is also exceptionally durable, withstanding lightsaber strikes, rocket blasts, telekinetic attacks, and even withstood a city-sized explosion while he was at ground zero. It's also superhumanly fast, potentially faster than any Jedi out there. He throws punches faster than the eye can see, moves so fast that it looks like he teleported, and each of Grievous' limbs can strike 3 times in 1 second, totaling 12 strikes in 1 second, all coming from different angles. He can even ramp this speed up, striking 20 times per second. He's also able to use this speed to dodge a barrage of laser fire, even from a clone trooper platoon. Then General Grievous is an expert lightsaber fighter, being trained by Count Dooku, and is more than a match for most Jedi. He's killed hundreds of Jedi throughout the years, killing more Jedi in hand-to-hand combat than any other living being, and is the greatest Jedi killer the galaxy has ever known. He also utilizes a rather unorthodox style while contending with Jedi, using his 4 arms to his utmost advantage, and usually spinning them, using them all at once to intimidate and overwhelm his opponents. He's also able to adapt to almost any fighting style coming his way. And when he was unleashed during the Battle of Geonosis, he slaughtered several companies of clone troopers backed by Jedi with just his bare claws. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now today, we're throwing the 3 villains from the Star Wars prequels head to head to head. Finally find out which villain is the superior one. It's Darth Maul versus Count Dooku versus General Grievous. So who's coming on top here? Well, let's find out. And here's the thing, for how often we stress physicality here at the beginning of these videos, I really don't think it's going to be that big of a factor here in this fight. Grievous has the most raw physicality. He's a cyborg. But with the Force, well, Maul and Dooku can amp themselves to comparable levels. And plus, they're all fighting with lightsabers, not hand-to-hand. They're all roughly the same speed level. They can be all roughly the same strength level with the Force. With lightsabers, everyone has the potential to be killed with just 1 strike. Yeah, this fight is all about their skill of a blade and their power with the Force. Now, Grievous is one of the ultimate fighters in the Star Wars universe. I mean, according to Mace Windu, General Grievous is more than a match for most Jedi. And he's gone on to kill over 100 Jedi personally, killed more Jedi in hand-to-hand combat than anyone else, and is arguably the greatest Jedi killer the galaxy has ever known. And it's not just Jedi who believe this, seeing as how Count Dooku considered him to be more formidable than Asajj Ventress, and purposely didn't teach him everything he knew in order to prevent Grievous from overthrowing him and killing him. In his introduction during the Battle of Geonosis, he was running around the catacombs without any weapons and still slaughtered dozens of Jedi and killed several whole companies of soldiers just his bare hands. He's also been trained in and mastered all 7 forms of classical lightsaber fighting, and on top of that is capable of analyzing the fighting style of an opponent while in combat, and subsequently adapt to it. He's battled against great Jedi like Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Kit Fisto, and Mace Windu. He's battled against 4 or 5 Jedi all at the same time. He's even fought against Darth Maul on more than one occasion. Although those fights were so short that they're really kinda inconclusive. Grievous also makes full use of both his forearms and 4 lightsabers, oftentimes attacking opponents with one of his free arms while locked in a lightsaber clash, or spinning all 4 lightsabers as he advances forward, forcing his opponent to step backwards and fight on the defensive. On the other hand, Darth Maul has been stated to be one of the greatest lightsaber duelists that the Sith Order has ever produced, and was considered to be a one-man army. Also, just a note, we're going to be giving him his double-bladed lightsaber in this fight instead of the Darksaber, with which he has complete mastery over. Both Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious have acknowledged Maul's lightsaber mastery in the past, and has actually battled against and nearly beaten his master Sidious. Maul is a very elegant, precise, and unpredictable fighter who utilizes a combination of martial arts and Juyo fighting, making him extremely difficult to counter. He's battled against multiple Jedi at the same time in the past, including Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, with Qui-Gon Jinn being one of the best fighters in the Order, and Obi-Wan being ready to be a Jedi Knight at the time. He's gone on to beat Obi-Wan several times since, battled against Mace Windu, Asajj Ventress, and Ahsoka Tano, and a clone of his even managed to fight against Darth Vader. And then there's Count Dooku. He's beaten Obi-Wan Kenobi, defeated Anakin Skywalker and cut off one of his arms, and he's fought against Obi-Wan and Anakin at the same time. He's fought evenly against Yoda on multiple occasions. He's battled against Asajj Ventress and 2 other Night Sisters while they were all invisible. He easily outmatched Savage Opress and General Grievous. Was able to take down Asajj Ventress and Savage Opress at the same time. Even during his time as a Jedi, it was said that only Yoda was his superior and Mace Windu was his only equal. Jocasta Nu said that Dooku had no match when it came to lightsaber fencing, and his skill was described as inspirational, with Palpatine even complimenting it. So in terms of pure lightsaber skill, I think Count Dooku is the best here. I mean, just look at their fights with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan is able to beat Darth Maul. He was able to beat General Grievous. He was never able to beat Count Dooku. Now, I know that is a bit of an oversimplification. I know both Maul and Grievous have had plenty of more fights with Obi-Wan, and I've even beaten him in fights before, but I think you get my point. And then there's the Force. And even though General Grievous has killed hundreds of Force-sensitive beings, he has no access to the Force himself. And so that's a huge advantage in Maul and Dooku's corner. In fact, it's such a big advantage in the fight that I'm gonna say right now that Grievous isn't gonna win this one. He might not necessarily lose it, meaning that someone goes out before him, but I don't think he's gonna win it. That's how big of a deal the Force is in this fight. Now, I've seen some people suggest that Maul isn't actually that skilled with the Force, and that's really just not true. For starters, Maul's potential as just an infant was enough for Darth Sidious to decide to train him as a potential successor in secret, and actually risk the wrath of his own master Plagueis by violating the rule of 2. Then it's also been suggested that Maul was trained to be nothing more than a dark side assassin, which also isn't entirely true. It's partly true, but he was also trained as a real Sith Lord and Sith apprentice. He went through extensive training, received the highest standard of training possible for a Sith Lord, and competed against Sidious personally, countless times, in fights where Sidious was perfectly willing to kill him if he couldn't stand against his master in a mere training exercise. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He sent men flying backwards with telekinetic blast, even Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's blasted back a small army alongside his apprentice. He even performed a force push against Grievous. Maul can perform other moves like telepathy, force screams, and some sources have even suggested he can use force lightning. But telekinesis is his bread and butter, and that's what he'll be using here. On the other hand, Count Dooku has overpowered Anakin's force push, pushed back against both Obi-Wan and Anakin, and he's defeated both Jedi Master Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress with the Force. Actually, Dooku has routinely been able to overpower other Jedi and Sith with the Force. He's used the Force in more unique ways than Darth Maul, and he actually undoubtedly has Force lightning, and has used this Force lightning to defeat the likes of Anakin, Ventress, and Savage Opress. So, end of the day, who's come out on top here? Well, first off, I think Count Dooku is the most powerful. His combination of lightsaber skill and Force lightning is the best one here. And Obi-Wan Kenobi agrees, saying that Count Dooku is more powerful than Darth Maul. And he would know. Obi-Wan's fought both of them multiple times. But the most powerful one might not necessarily be the winner, because it's a three-way fight. And if Grievous gets Dooku in a lightsaber lock, then Maul can stab him in the back. If Dooku and Maul having a Force showdown, Grievous could kill one of them in the meantime. These things can happen. However, with all that being said, I do think Count Dooku is going to win this fight more times than Darth Maul or Grievous win. He's going to take the majority here. Count Dooku has more experience than any other person here, going up against multiple trained fighters, regularly being able to hold his own against 2 or even 3 fighters. He's casually beaten General Grievous before. He's actually taught Grievous everything he knows. And Obi-Wan Kenobi has said that Count Dooku is better than Darth Maul. So with all that on his side, plus just the better lightsaber skill and better Force power, I think Count Dooku's coming out on top here more often than not. Count Dooku wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sound off in the comments down below. Also be sure that like button, subscribe button, and turn notifications to join the Fanco army, and I will see y'all next time.